So, what if my version of Compass Carburetor, yes, the Compass Carburetor from I Hate Systems, the web novel, was in One Piece? Also, this version of Compass Carburetor does not know One Piece at all. But anyways, let's talk about some of his abilities so that you can understand him better. First of all, Telltale and Lore. Basically, these two abilities basically mean that as long as you have a base, you can theoretically create anything. He was rewriting the laws of the entire universe. An entire universe with these two abilities. Which Lore originally came from technically him, but more not the main character system fragments or main character system itself. Telltale obviously came from the Telltale system. To be honest, I have no idea how he obtained it since he's not a systems layer out or a system anymore. How does he have its core skill? I have no idea. But really, as long as he has a base, like, for example, a power system, he could really create any ability with it. So, for example, if you give him Haki, he can do some inexplainable things with it as long as he has one of the two abilities. So yes, these two things are reality breaking. Then let's just go to some of his equipment that he's going to be using. I literally forgot almost all of the items he uses. I really did. First of all, we have his Universal Anthosa. If you know, when he became a System Slayer, Anthosa was his first personal fragment. However, to my knowledge, I'm pretty sure he lost it when he became an Eldritch being. That's what the novel described him as, so I'm gonna call him that in that timeline. However, now Universal Anthosa is here. Basically a better Anthosa with all of his abilities, like Bullet Template basically allows you to turn thoughts, mental fragment, energy, I don't know. Basically, mental energy streams and thoughts into their own abilities. For example, if he were to turn sad or angry thoughts, he could turn those into bullets with varying effects. He could also turn, for example, someone else's thoughts, like confusion, into a bullet that has their own abilities. So yeah, Bullet Template's actually pretty overpowered because of another reason. It can store power systems. However, at the same time, this is basically just a lesser version of Lore because it can do it better. Except you just need a lot of chaos, chances, and luck. That's the only downside of Lore. Other than that, there's Bullet Template. However, if you use all of the bullets, which, just so you know, is 6 each, then you lose the power system completely. Plus, you will need to make yourself, Lore. By this, I mean, in the Magic world, he had to make a character called Tete, and then had to use thoughts of other people to make himself a Metal Grandmaster Mage. So yeah, Bullet Template is also basically limited on what you make other people think. So really, he could have made himself way stronger by just making himself an apostle. I really forgot of one of the However, let's go on to the boots. Yeah, these boots allow him to travel through dimensions or universes. That's pretty much all they can do, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's all they can do. That's all they're doing. And then we have this cloak. I really forgot what it's supposed to do. I really did. Also, just so you know, all of these items are literally compressed from universes. So, yeah, they have the power of multiple big reds on their side. So my guy could easily destroy a planet, even without any of these abilities or items. Then we have Hate Eraser, which erases any negative thoughts that anyone has about him. For example, if someone wants him to die, he could literally erase that thought from existence. So, yeah, it erases mental energy streams that are negative in any way, just so you know. Then we have his Darlac abilities. His Darlac abilities are, first, his Warrior Path Darlac ability, which is Body Layer. Basically allows him to coat himself with Darlac to increase his physical strength, endurance, and speed. Basically all of his base stats that aren't included with IQ. So, yeah, he's just really increasing his physical strength as a whole. And I'm pretty sure it's mainly his defense and endurance. The other side, we have Spy Dragon. Spy Dragon basically allows him to make these mini dragons, or snakes that have wings. Basically, they're used for transmission, so yeah, he can put his voice through it, and he can also use it to spy, like the name says. He can also fly, however, he can also differ the size, however, unfortunately, this has only been shown once. In the third arc, where he created a massive spy dragon to ride on. After that, we have the fusion of it, which I really forgot what it was called, but what I do remember is that it was described as him being Iron Man. Basically, it just allows him to create flashy armor, which has the effects of Body Layer, but more. It also has this scaly form, which has the effects of Spy Dragon. By this, I mean, I think it's also another increase in practically all of his stats. And he gets wings. That's practically all, though. Then we have his second power system, the Apocalypse Pearl, which, to be honest, is kinda useless. Matter of fact, if he didn't have his Darlac power system, then it would be full-on useless. Basically, what I mean is that there are the stages. So, for example, if you are stage 2, you can hold 2 different Apocalypse Pearl abilities from different monsters, or Apocalypse monsters. I don't think they ever really got a name. They just got species names. However, you can only use these abilities once for a certain time limit, and you'll have to eat that Apocalypse Pearl of that same monster again if you want to use it again. And the amount of abilities you can have at the same time differs obviously from your stages. However, unlike humans, monsters actually get a physical and just power increase when they increase in stages. For humans, it's just you can have more abilities, which are one-time use. So unless you have another power system to back it up, it's almost completely useless. But my version can use Nacre, the newer power system. Basically, I'm just gonna assume this is what Nacre is. Basically, with an increase in stages, humans also gain the advantage of monsters. So yeah, more stages, you get physically stronger, and your potency with Nacre also gets an increase. You also, Apocalypse Pearls are really only useful for just increasing the potency of your Nacre by a small amount, depending on what monster you kill. Also, of course, with an increase in stage, you can gain multiple powers from other monsters, of which, yeah, there's like another dimension in this world. Every time you increase in your stage, you can go to this dimension and get a monster. Although I'm pretty sure both of them have to want to do it. So, yeah. Also, basically, if you get this monster, of course, you can use her abilities. However, it is not limited to the amount of Apocalypse Pearls you have. Also, Nacre itself, without any powers, can basically be used to increase all of your physical stats. And is actually like Sarlacc because it gives you a special power. The amount of special powers you have differs on the amount of stages you have. Basically, you get one special power every 2 stages. That isn't from a monster. So basically, Compass Carburetor's first stage is from a one and only silver bird. So, yeah, before he got a bird, Apocalypse Pearl, at his second stage, but now it's his first. Basically, this allows him to put 6 wings, basically 3 on each back. And in this form, he also gets a wheel, a white wheel. And this is basically a better version of his Gatling gun before. So yeah, he can fly, he can shoot out these feathers, which, just so you know, are as hard as iron, and he gets ammo. I mean, and basically every second he launches this, he can use any other power system like before to just get a refill. So yeah, or he could just straight up use Nacre. Also, his Nacre potency also differs. So if he doesn't want to use that straight up power, he can just use his Nacre with the attributes of it. For example, if someone were to have a monster power that would allow them to breathe underwater, gain water powers, or water abilities, someone, instead of just using the straight up ability, could instead use their Nacre in a similar way, so that they could have water powers and breathe underwater. Except it would have a lesser effect, but it also expends lesser Nacre, so just saying. So yeah, he could also create wings just without the wheel around his head. So it would have a lesser effect, but it takes in lesser Nacre to actually use it. The second one is from the one and only Dota. Yes, the Dragon of Systems. So yes, System Punishment is back, but with the added power of Telltale and lore, it can basically destroy even the likes of Zara. If charged enough. Yes, he can charge System Punishment. And yeah, other than System Punishment, which is really just a thing he gets because it's a Dragon of Systems, he gets Dragon Breath. Yes, straight up Dragon Breath. So yeah, he can expend Dragon Breath from parts of his body. However, it has a lesser effect than when it's released from his mouth. You may be asking why. I just don't want to. Then we have Daita. Also, yeah, Daita was pretty much useless in any other world than the Apocalypse Pearl world. And to be honest, it's true though. It's kind of useless in any other world as long as they have something like the equivalent of a mental box. So Daita would actually be pretty useful in anything like the Invoker or Martial Spirit world. So yeah. But in any other power system, it's practically useless. Basically, Daita can devour animals and raises her physical strength power along with yours. And the special thing about Daita is that it can be summoned. So practically everything can do that. Just costs a lot of mac rate, but the stronger the summon, the less mac rate. Which is also the reason why they're pretty hard to get. But anyway, Daita's special ability is called Spirit Host and also Spirit Devour. Basically, this allows her to devour anything like the equivalent of an invoked spirit or a martial spirit. Practically anything that's the equivalent of that. And allows her to erase her power in all, basically except for IQ, and the same for her host. So that means Compass Carburetor. But unfortunately, you don't get the powers. Then he would just have too much. He needs to have a debuff. And Spirit Host basically means that she can hide in objects. So for example, she could go inside a tree and it would have the mark of a very, very big serpent. Very, very big serpent with like 8 horns. Oh, and also, of course, Compass Carburetor himself has 8 horns. Well, 8 stages. Also, just so you know, anytime a monster increases in stage or a demi-human increases in stage, they gain a horn. Basically, Compass Carburetor's 4 knack rate abilities include gravity manipulation. Yes, straight up gravity manipulation. And basically his equivalent of a domain expansion, which are actually pretty rare in this verse. So, yeah, basically what any other person in this verse would call a Nacre field. This Nacre field is really just an empty void, where he is the equivalent of God. The only way to get out of it is to use Nacre straight up and just burst and destroy it, or to use brute force or practically any other power system, just with a lot more force, and burst. Get out of there. Other than that, you practically have no means of escaping. Practically the only other way you could ever think of would be to just have more power with Compass Carburetor, which is very unlikely knowing how he is probably one of the most strongest characters in fiction. I'd have to say he's at least universal, okay? I mean, he's rewriting the laws of the universe. There's Nacre Volts. Basically, white lightning that he can fully control. And Finally, Mental Dragon. Okay, so basically this is a mini Daita, which instead of being limited to basically anything the equivalent of an invoked spirit, Apocalypse Pearl monster, or like anything related to those. It can actually go for the soul of a person. However, it can just devour that. No increase in power or anything. But basically when it does that, a person's power is halved. The only thing is, it unfortunately can't work on anything like systems, since they're really just made out of mental energy. I don't really think that counts as like soul power or anything. So yeah, you lost me there. But that's all this ability can do, really. Oh wait, also lost track. Basically, for his other Necrate beings, since he has 8, you'd think he'd had 8. However, no, he only has 4. For special reasons as such, because none of the thing bothers him. So, yeah, he's at 8 for now. He's had a lot of dragon things. Dota, Dida, if you want to count it as a dragon. So, why not just pull up the Goldie? You really thought I was gonna pull up another dragon? What monster would I be to pull up 3 dragons in this person? This one person. But hey, Goldie the G is back. Basically, anything Compass Carburetor eats or Goldie eats gets turned into mental energy, which also automatically goes into any of his abilities, like Psych Stars, anything like Telltale or Lore, which are practically already getting stronger constantly because of Faith Grounds. Basically, as long as he eats something edible by his views, then he can get an increase in practically all of his abilities. Well, excluding anything physical, so yeah, but anything that increases his physical strength, that's a yes. Yeah. So that is wait, you may be wondering, what do these people look like? I mean, Apocalypse monsters look like. First one is really just a 6 wings on the sides. I mean, 3 wings on both of the sides. Phoenix, which is also silver and white. Dota, it's practically already been said in the series, but Dota basically is really just a gigantic black serpent with 2 giant wings. So yeah, and oh wait, no, that's Daita. Sorry, but Dota is basically a massive Chinese dragon. So basically, a massive red, crimson, basically red scales, crimson scales, Chinese dragon. Also, at the tail, at the end of the tail, is kind of like Charizard, but instead of orange or yellow fire, it's crimson fire. Also, at the neck of its head, it kind of has something like a crimson mane. But now that we're finally done with all of his Necrate abilities, why don't we go to Anema? So, unfortunately, my version of Compass Carburetor doesn't have his martial spirit. Well, he does. It just went through a change again. Before, it was just a mental frog. Then it got accustomed to mental energy. It therefore turned into what? Like a frog that looked like the black sky. But now, not really necessarily having the mental energy power system, it got replaced by Anema. And therefore, this thing went through a change. So what is Anema? Anema is really just a power system, like a quirk, that gives you one special ability. You can launch energy blast with it, and increases your physical strength if you want it to. So think of it as Ki, except without the techniques. It also just gives you one special ability. Also, just so you know, Anema's that kind of power system, like Nacre, which I forgot to mention, can devour systems. And when it devours systems, it becomes more potent against systems. It can also be turned into mental energy to basically increase all your power. So, yeah, if he devours systems, he gets mental energies. Mental energy to increase all of his abilities. But if he just devours food, he gets mental energy streams all in his body to go to Psych Stars, or basically any of his abilities, and then just fully turn into them. So yeah. So his special ability is called Enroko. Enroko. Basically, Enroko just summons a black sword with a crimson and black blade. But you may be thinking about its handle. It's really just a golden dragon. Basically, this sword, kind of like a personal fragment, works in all universes and multiverses alike. So yeah, works with all power systems too. However, what does Enruku do? That's his sword's name, by the way. Well, other than being potent enough to destroy even third-grade systems, and having the potency of Anema itself put it into it, it can also be. It also has an overdrive form. It doesn't really change its form at all, but it just gets a rush of Anema, or practically any other power system you want to put into it, and therefore gets a massive increase in power. So yeah, you could put Nacre into it, and it would possibly randomly, or just you can choose one of your Nacre abilities, except in like a sword version. So, for example, if you were to have like a lightning ability, which Compass does, and put it into Anema with Nacre, Anema would get, Enruku would get a Nacre effect of lightning. So yeah, it gets a little static lightning form instead of its normal, just red energy form or variant. But what happened to the mental frog, you may ask? Basically, it retained its starry effect, just turned partially red, still retained the blackness. Also, with this, Compass Carburetor gained the aggressor form. I really forgot what this looked like, though. So, yeah, you're just gonna have to deal with that. So, yeah, by coating Anema in his whole entire body or something, he can gain the aggressor form, which he used in Faith Grounds. So what's the next power system my version of Compass Carburetor has? You may be asking. Well, what I got that the next power system he did get after this? The Invoker power system. Yes. And from the Invoker world, where he literally turned it into a mental energy farm, which it most likely and probably is still a farm. So yeah. Basically, this Invoker power system allows him to summon mist. And this mist can basically paralyze someone, basically stop them in their tracks. And other than that, it's really just a mist. I don't think it really got a name. Actually, no, it probably did. I just forgot. However, he also got 2 other powers from this power system. The second one, other than his mist, was what I actually remember is Judgment Lightning. Matter of fact, Judgment Lightning is the only reason he even has a lightning ability in Nacre. In his Nacre powers. Matter of fact, it's really just a variation. Except, if he doesn't want to waste or use Judgment Lightning, you can use its weaker variant. Basically, all of his abilities, just so no can work on the systems and representatives alike. Basically, just allows him to hurt someone with very powerful lightning. So, yeah. Then we have Spirit Morph. Basically, this allows him to turn anything in his vision into straight mental energy things, which he can turn into Psych Stars. Matter of fact, why don't we talk about Psych Stars? So you may be thinking, but the original Compass Carburetor couldn't really use Psych Stars that often. It was lesser his amount, and if he used all of them, would just turn him into a monster. And you are correct. Novel spoilers. That was novel spoilers. Sorry for not saying it before. But my version of Compass Carburetor doesn't have to worry about this. I mean, he has a full-on planetary farm of mental energy. 10,000 cannot compare. 1 million probably cannot compare. Matter of fact, it cannot compare at all. Because there are billions of people on the planet. So they should have so many thoughts. There's at least 8 billion people on this planet. That planet probably has more. Therefore, it would generate more thoughts. Ain't no way a mere 1 billion mental energy streams and thoughts could compare to, I don't know, probably more than 8 billion thoughts. It's not comparing. It's not. Bro, imagine if he turned a whole entire universe into a mental energy farm. That's a lot. That's a lot. Oh God, I am not. I'm just saying, it's a lot. No, they're not. It's a lot. It's a goddamn lot. It's a goddamn lot. But anyways, another reason why he practically has infinite psych stars is because of the one and only, basically originally known as money-making system, adventurer system, Adhar, secondary system. It's because of him. So yeah, he has a part of, I don't know, secondary system, which, unlike before, it's kind of like the adventurer system. Basically, he has a system. However, when he goes into the system world, doesn't devour him, because this part is effectively his. Doesn't have anything like a shop. It's really just for a system window. However, it splits into parts and goes into system hosts of other systems, making a goddamn amount of mental energy, which constantly goes into his psych stars, making them more potent, giving him more emotions, and making them just have way more of an amount. Matter of fact, he has over 800,000 or above of every single one of them. Because it has been shown that it is pretty easy to raise levels of core skills. Just give them mental energy. And this is basically the equivalent of a core skill. Well, his core skill. If you don't count gender representation as a core skill. So, yeah. Psych stars, fine. And I already explained Spirit Morph. So why don't we go on to the next power system? His power system as the god of humanity. He really gained no powers here other than shadow manipulation, which, yeah, he can turn shadows into real-life objects, control a shadow, etc. That's all he gained here. That's really all he gained. If anything, it limited him because he had to have an exorbitant amount of followers to go into a physical form. So, yeah. Anyway.